Hello everyone, I am Vivek and I welcome you to the fourth episode of Vidya Manthan Season 1. This series is organized by Athos Study Solutions and Punekar News. In today's episode, we will be talking about the challenges of digital transformation in education in our country. So how schools and institutions manage their digital transformation will shape our education for future decades. In the COVID-19 pandemic, it has offered us a crash test of our educational institutions' digital capacity. We now, a year into the crisis, have a better idea about the challenges of digital transformation and what can be done to overcome them. India makes for a fascinating case study. The size of country and its large rural population put particular pressure on its digital infrastructure. But as a world leader in IT-related services, India is well placed to offer its institutions the technological support that they need. India's education system faces pressure to address digital inequality and ensure students can access digital learning. But the biggest hurdle has hitherto been the mindset of students, faculty, and parents. COVID-19 has changed all that. There is not a choice anymore. Either you decide to lose your ear and come back when normalcy returns, or take the only option of going online. To discuss on this burning topic, we have with us esteemed principals of Pune's top school as panel members. First, we have Dr. Vaishali Kulkarni, principal of Abhinav English School, Narhe, Pune. Ma'am has earned degrees in BA, MA, BEd, MEd, SET, DSM, and PhD. She has more than 16 years of experience in the field of education. Welcome, ma'am. We are glad that you have joined us today for this talk. Our next panel member is Dr. Rupali Dharmdhere. Ma'am is working as principal of Trinity International School, Pune. Ma'am holds BEd, MDJC, MS, and PhD degree. She has more than 15 years of experience in the field of education. Welcome, ma'am, for today's event, and thank you for being a part of it. And next, we have Mrs. Bharti Bhagwani, principal of GT International School, Pimpri. Ma'am has earned BTech and BEd degrees. She recently has been appointed as core team member of Sahodaya, and ma'am has more than 15 years of experience in the field of education. Welcome, ma'am. We are glad that you joined us for this discussion.
Thank you.
So without further ado, I'll start taking inputs from you all. So just an overview of your view on digital transformation of education. So I'll start with Bharti, ma'am. Please give your input on this digital transformation of education.
Yeah. Yes, Vivek. Thank you, Vivek. And thank you, host, for giving us this opportunity to put our views on digital transformation of education. First of all, I want to say that digital education is not new. As we have seen in the past about distant education, correspondence courses. It was a part then, but it is a major part now. The millennials that we are handling have seen devices grown in front of them. Any household family you go, they have smart devices, laptops, tablets, and many more. Smart classes have also had a special place in our physical schooling, which is an interactive learning method use. Needless to state that every child this day is given minimum 2 hours of screen time. We need to understand that digital education is not merely screen time. It is not a passive screen time where children are merely watching, but it is also learning, interacting, and doing tasks. This digital transformation is basically an evolution from a pen-to-paper approach to AI-driven techniques. Media is available on internet, is vast. Data is available, knowledge is available. But what needs to be understood is the quality of this knowledge taken from it And this is where our educators, teachers come in and make the right things available for them. In fact, to this day, the most important part of human evolution is digital education. Learning cannot be quarantined, and it is only right for education to transform to a segment that is readily available at large. So with this, I have to be honest that this day formal education would have been more under threat if digital schooling or education hadn't involved. Be it teaching, be it assessing, any medium of technology will evaluate, monitor, observe. And this has come to our children captive on their strength and works on the weak spots. So these are my views on transformation of digital education.
Definitely, ma'am. Like, we cannot imagine if this type of situation had happened 10 years ago, then what would have been the, outcome to our students' education.
Yes.
We even cannot imagine. So, ma'am, Vaishali, ma'am, I'll come to you. What is your viewpoint on digital transformation of education? Vaishali, ma'am.
Yes. Actually, I believe that India being the IT hub of the world, so most of the schools, they were lagging behind in technology. So that doesn't mean that schools were not using technology in day-to-day teaching learning. Many schools, they were using different apps, they were showing videos and so many things everybody was doing. But online teaching learning, that was the process which has occurred in this pandemic. So there was either option to go with digitization or to leave it, as you said earlier. So I feel that in most of the schools, this digitization, they have accepted this terminology. But considering the areas, like if we think about the Pune, Mumbai cities, that this digitization has taken place, most of the schools, they are adopting these things and it is very easy for them. But when we think about the rural areas, as we know that there are many challenges for them, so for them this technology teaching, it is very very difficult. As you know, there are internet problems, then the basic gadgets, technological gadgets like mobiles, laptops and all, these are not available with the students, and due to that it has affected on their teaching learning process, their interest in teaching learning, that has been reduced. So if we say about digitization, I believe, or I suggest, it has happened in this cities and all. But when we consider or when we think about these rural areas, still we have to focus on this digitization. So this is what I feel.
So true, ma'am. Like tier 1 cities, the metro cities could manage this part, but still we are, almost we are still an agrarian economy. 80% of our population lives in villages.
Yes.
And yes, we are definitely aware that we could not reach through them, and their education has been hindered to a lot of extent due to this COVID pandemic. So I'll come to Rupali, ma'am. What do you think, your view on digital transformation of education?
Very good evening. Thank you so much for the opportunity. And I agree to what my co-panelists are saying here, Bharti ma'am and Vaishali ma'am, that yes, digitalization, it was always there. It is not new to us, but it wasn't used so aggressively as it is used today. So, because of the pandemic, you can call it a blessing also, maybe, because it has opened up so many doors. And if you take it as an opportunity, it is actually an opportunity wherein we have come to exploring so many different ways and means through which we can provide education to our children. Also, wherein we were talking about, when we were talking about technology coming in, and children using the mobile phone, and children being on the mobile for so long, or children watching the television for so long, and calling it screen time, and not being there, and children should be outside and they should be playing, and all those things. But this pandemic has actually got us to rethink on what we were doing, and we actually need to unlearn and actually need to, reformulize the things that we were actually telling our children, and we were talking about screen time and education. I agree to what Bharti ma'am said, is screen time is, and digital education and screen time, two different things. So it is not just a passive thing. We have also learned to make our classes more interesting. We have tried to include different tools. We've tried to teach our children different tools. In the pretext, our teachers have learned to be more and more creative towards it. Agreeing to the rural point of view, what Vaishali ma'am also said, that yes, I agree that to a certain extent, maybe they do not have the kind of facilities or the kind of gadgets that we have. But let's come to a common consensus that even the rural India today is tech savvy. A lot of them do have and do actually surfing on the net, and let us understand that yes, Trinity has opened a branch with in a remote area in Satara as well, in Vaduz. But the parents there also actually go on to surf, to find out, to analyze whether what the school is saying, whether how they can relate to it, and make maximum use of the things. Yes, connectivity and the other things do remain an issue at times, but I think today the entire world is connected, and we are all there now. We sitting at so many different places, and we still being able to connect, and to connect to so many people outside also. So education is like everywhere, wherever we are doing and whatever we are doing today. So we are all actually trying to make the most of it. We are trying to look at the positive side of it, and we are trying to see that we can learn out of this and take ourselves ahead instead of stopping behind.
Definitely, ma'am. We being smart, like even I will discuss a case in a rural village. They had a temple and a mic. We discussed in 2 episodes prior, when we were talking about this digital education only, that the teacher used to, make the lessons speak, like he was speaking through the mic, and temple, entire village used to listen to it, where students were coming out and sitting in their verandas and everywhere. And it is possible, right? If you want to learn, it is possible. Yes, there is some hindrance. With time, we will definitely cope up to it. So coming to the next question, directly related. Question is, what were the major challenges faced by your school and how you overcome them? How difficult it was to keep students and teachers at par with the transformation? Again, I'll ask Bharti ma'am to start with answer. I'll repeat the question, ma'am.
Yes, no, I got the question. Vivek,
Okay,
before I go ahead with this question, I would just like to, add my views. Dr. Kulkarni mentioned about rural India, and we spoke about internet connectivity. And then Rupali ma'am also spoke about a school which is formed by Trinity in Satara. See, we need to understand one thing, that every person in India right now is having a mobile phone. If you see the statistics, and if you see the statistics when Jio was launched, or when the Reliance industry had launched the communication strategies few years ago, we saw that everyone was opting a mobile phone, and this was 4 years ago. Why should we be away from education? And in rural, we have either government schools or private, unaided schools. So the government is also putting a lot of effort in making this education, go digitally, and there is a transformation. Yes, I do understand the connectivity issues which are still there, and this has to be taken care. So that problem has to be taken care. Now, coming to your question, like what are the major challenges we faced and how did we overcome them? See, last year we had somewhere sensed this pandemic in the month of April, because lockdown started from March. And since our session already starts in the month of April, we were ready with our pedagogy, teaching aids, and the classrooms, and the class list, and the orientation also of few classes. But now, since we had to go online, where children were not allowed to come to school, and there was a huge transformation in bringing the children, teachers, and the parents on the same platform. So, what we did the entire month of May, nobody took vacation in our school. The entire month of May went into rigorous training, from how to manage online classes to how to deliver, and what are the areas of the concerns, or we could sense some concerns which were coming and we were able to handle. But we should also understand that our teachers are born teachers, whether it is offline or online, they are going to deliver their best. All those challenges were taken care. It started with the fact, the platform which we want to use, how do we share the screen, how do we monitor the children. There was a conscious effort from the beginning itself, and all these areas were taken care in the training program that was organized. So then slowly we started with our classes in the month of June, and initially in the April for some classes, and then June we started a whole school. And when we settled down, we also understood that we cannot just focus on the academic progress of the children, but we need to have a very balanced approach, since children are at home, and we need to take care of their physical development, their social development, their psychological development, and so on. So this is how, taking care of all these things. But one point I just want to mention here, the training that we provided to the teachers was intense, and the monitoring program was intense. This was not to find fault fighting, but this was to hold hands of each other and then just sail through this time. And this is how the entire year passed, and the entire calendar which was planned in the month of February was taken care.
Definitely, ma'am. Like training was indeed required, because computer science or science teachers, they were tech savvy, but language teachers and other sports teachers, they were not so inclined towards technology before this. But we have overcome this. Yes, rigorous training was provided, and
Vivek,
things
one more
worked out.
important point is that the teachers gave away their May vacation. They did not take a May vacation last year. So, and I can see most of the schools did this so that they were ready for the month of June. And that is an amazing job that our educators, we talk about frontline workers, but we do not talk about these educators who are working backstage. Though, everything was shut down, school education never stopped from day one.
Definitely, ma'am. You are the frontline workers for the future generation, because the other doctors, and they are working on the present generation, but future generations, the core competency creation was never stopped. Of course, hats off to all the educators across the country. Vaishali, ma'am, I'll come to you. So what were the major challenges faced by your school, and how did you overcome them? How difficult it was to keep students and teachers at par with the transformation?
Yes. So actually, when pandemic, it was declared in month of March. So that time we had planned about annual results. Then next year's planning, it was ready. Everything was going very smoothly. But all of a sudden, as there was drastic change, so there was a lot of confusion among our students, among teachers, parents, everywhere. So what we thought that let us work out on these issues. So firstly, we decided that we have to switch over from actual teaching to online teaching. So that acceptance was there, and we motivated our students, our parents and teachers for the same. So first thing is that the challenges were from teachers' point of view as well as from students' point of view. Because as you know that most of the time, if the siblings are there in the same school, so availability of gadgets, everything that is there. And again, as per this, we have to plan out our timetables. Then most of the parents, they were working. So the time schedule which we have allotted for teaching learning process, that should match with the parents' office time. So there was a lot of variation for this. So initially this like Zoom, then Google Classroom, Google Meet, so all these apps were new for us. But our from management side, Digicom team is a team which is very helpful for us, and they have cooperated for this entire process. So I'm really thankful to our management for this. So once we had finalized with these apps and everything, so proper training was given to my teachers about using these apps, then what are the features, how you can use this for online teaching process. And then these teachers, they had motivated my students for using this app. Then wherever the homeworks were given, some assignments were given. So previously it was easier for students as well as for teachers that to collect those assignments, correct it, give them feedback orally. But right now, due to this digitization, everything was new for them. So there we were guided on this digital classroom, how to upload those assignments, how to correct it. So all type of that training it was given to my teachers. And even CBSE had organized so many training recently, that blended learning. So that was organized by CBSE. I'm really thankful for that. And many tools which we can use to motivate our students, which will make your teaching learning process more interesting, so that were oriented through these trainings. So definitely I would say yes, the challenges were there, but everybody had accepted those challenges, and definitely I would say ki yes, we have conquered, though initially it was very difficult for everybody of us. But still I feel after completing this 14 months that yes, now everybody has conquered and everybody is used to of this online teaching learning process. This is what I feel.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Definitely, there was a strong support from the technology of the world. As you said, maybe Google Meet, maybe Zoom, maybe Microsoft Team, and many other platforms that enabled us to continue our teaching process throughout this pandemic. Rupali ma'am, I'll come to you. So how difficult was it to keep students and teachers at par with the transformation?
Like everybody, everyone was caught up at a surprise, and suddenly we were put into situation. Like we also earlier spoke that yes, we were aware of technology, we were using it, but nobody knew that a teacher would enter a child's living room and the study room, and be there, and the child will be sitting at home and taking a class. So this was something really really new. Now how do we do that suddenly, because we were under lockdown, and then to get everything together and to start with a new session. When we are starting with a new session, normally yes, we are all prepared, orientation, this, that, and all this has a particular structure. When it came to online suddenly, and you're sitting in your house, somewhere that structure was missing, somewhere that formal timing was missing, somewhere that formal feeling that you're going to school and you're attending and you're doing all that was somewhere missing. So we also had to train our senior teachers. Our teachers, they are so valuable to us, but they were not so tech savvy. And these teachers, they've been teaching for so many years. They're used to having the child in front of them, because they can look at the child's eyes and say that yes, what I've said is grasped by this child, what I've said is still a little problem, and this child has still not got what I'm trying to say. So these teachers, how much ever technology and things were there, they were still not getting that feel, that they used to keep coming and saying that ma'am, फिर भी अभी भी वो feel नहीं आ रहा है, we don't feel, because the children are not sitting in front of us. I am still not comfortable, I am still not confident that whatever I have taught them, whatever I've spoken to them about, whether it has registered or not. There were challenges wherein now the visibility and the technology being at the fingertips of the child, the children switching off the camera, the children not being there when maybe the teacher asked a question. There were so many things, because technology was at their end, and they were having the freedom, and they're still having the freedom to do things like that. So overcoming these challenges also. Then the challenges of having siblings in the house, too many gadgets, then the parents of younger children wanting to sit with them, and the mothers wanting to have the kind of time because my child would not sit in front of the screen alone. So we also have had parents, I'm sure the other my panelists would agree, the primary and the pre-primary parents sitting down with notebooks as the teacher is saying, and actually trying to make notes because you're not sure whether the child is going to take down the notes or take down what the teacher is trying to say or things like that. So parents going down to that extent as well. So juggling between all these points and trying to connect all these dots together, we all have gone through this and we've dealt them in our own way in whatever challenges we were facing, because we all in some way or the other have similar kind of challenges, and we try to cover them as far as what we could think in the best possible manner, providing them with a proper platform, providing them with proper teaching aids, providing teacher training, and getting a kind of formal structure to the online schooling as well.
Definitely, ma'am. The transition is never easy, and I know, like being an educator, seeing the body language of the child, his expressions, if he's concentrating or not, these things actually make our role complete. Delivering in front of camera is not an easy job when you don't get a response, a feedback. There is never a feedback because you cannot just allow everybody's mic to open because that will create a chaos. So delivering lectures in front of camera where actually there is no feedback was difficult for us indeed, but we have overcome them and will not let the learning continue. So with this only, we will have the next question. So I want your viewpoints on, has COVID-19 given a successful test run of digital transformation in education? Means, are we ready now for the digital transformation? Bharti ma'am.
Yes. I would, would like to say that I don't think we have ever been ready as much as what we are today. For example, smart classes. Combining the smart classes with blended learning. Okay, initially smart classes were a part of our teaching learning process for more than a decade. Going total digital was a challenge. But the past year has taught us the benefits of technology beyond the classroom atmosphere. Educators made some adjustments in their teaching learning process in a way that is conducive to the learners as well as the teachers. Be it the mode of information, the instruction, the observation, or assessment. Whether it is the physical well-being of the children or the emotional question, an innovative session plan was what made a difference, is what I want to say. So, the teachers were able to, now I can see there are augmented learning session plans which are made by the teachers. The teachers are downloading a lot of YouTube videos available for the children to give them a much more experience than what they were getting in the class. They are able to convert their smart classes, or they are able to use the data or the knowledge of the smart classes, and they are able to implement this data in the online classes. So what I feel is, considering this virtual reality which bridges the outside living world to the world of learners, is to make things simpler. There has also been an attempt to make the online classroom atmosphere an engaging one. What was once tiresome work of bringing technology to the classroom is becoming very easy nowadays. Today we have sessions that are a mixed reality and the sessions look magical. We have seen that technology is creating and redesigning the learning space with so much of ease. This day we have e-library in our schools. Children can just download books from the e-library. They can, download as many books they want. So this is becoming much more easier. The study material is available to the child at a click of a button. Assessments are being taken virtually. And believe me, assessments are taken. We took assessments last year, which was completely based on skill development, which was completely based on understanding whether the learning outcomes for that specific subject, for that specific topic has been taken care or no. So, we must never forget that we are looking at the digital segment as an aid to the teaching learning process and not a replacement. This aid is a complement to the process of education. We have been successful in conducting the bridging classes for the student who need help to bridge up the gap in some kind of knowledge. We were able to do some kind of personalized learning readiness. We were ready for it. So this curriculum now has become a blended learning program is what I would talk about. As far as the responsibility is as much on the teacher, it is as much on the student also. So here we were able to explore, inquiry-based learning. We were able to experiment different styles of learning, and we were able to cater to the real goal of education, which is for life and then for livelihood. So with this, I just want to say, yes, we are getting ready and we are much more better than what we were earlier.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Indeed, we are at the best of how it could have been. Yes. Thank you so much for your inputs. Vaishali ma'am, I'll come to you.
Yes. So I do agree with Bharti ma'am's statement that yes, after this 1 year, we are ready for this technology, and we can say yes, successfully we are doing it. So right now, if we see that everybody is working on a same platform with the help of technology, I can say management, principal, teachers, students, everybody, they are working with the help of same technology, like we are using this WebEx, Zoom app, then Google Meet, so many things are there. So I feel, yes, definitely technology is helping us to overcome on the challenges, no doubt. There are no physical boundaries for this. We can connect anytime, anywhere. But what I feel that technology, if we go, like we can say that technology cannot replace the teacher. Like, yes, definitely students, they are learning through technology, teachers are teaching. But when I take the feedback from my teachers as well as from my students, so they say ki that feel like when they are in the school with their co-mates, with their teachers and all, so that feeling is totally different. But when they are just simply sitting and they are learning through this online mode, that is totally different. Though there are some advantages, disadvantages, but still I feel that after this COVID situation, 1 month when government has allowed us to run with the schools for 9th and 10th standard classes, so that time I had taken the feedback from my students. So they were so happy while sitting in the classrooms, interacting with their teachers. So that feeling was totally different. So that is what I feel. And the important thing is that, as you know, that in education field, there are many individual differences in the classroom. Like every child's need is different. So that need differs from one child to other. So that teacher can identify in actual classroom teaching. But when you are using this online teaching learning mode, for teachers also it is very difficult to find out that what students are expecting from her, or we can say that belongingness, or that is not seen in this online learning mode. But yes, definitely I said that as there are many challenges, but as per situation, we have to overcome on those challenges, and we have to go with this technology. But I feel the best part would be there when we will use technology as well as our traditional teaching methodology. When both will be combined together, then I feel this teaching learning process will be more effective for everybody of us.
Definitely, ma'am, there can be various modes of delivery, but human touch, the actual input from the teacher, can never be replaced. I totally agree. Rupali ma'am, I'll come to you. So has it given a test run and are we ready now?
We are more than ready, I would say. So maybe there were a little bit of hitches in the beginning last year when we began, but this year, if you ask us, I think every educator is more equipped to handle the challenges because she's been through it. She's actually seen what are the shortcomings. She knows wherein wherein we can fall short. She knows where the gaps might occur. And also we are more than happy because earlier, whatever and however said and done, the parents were not really a bigger part and they were not really playing a very big role. Today the parents are a part of daily school and daily class. This is something that we were really looking forward to, and today parents also taking total and equal responsibility. It actually gives us a better feeling, and it actually completes the entire circle of holistic learning for the child as well, is what I would say. So I would say we are more than ready to face the coming year.
Definitely, ma'am. As you pointed out, yes, the social isolation part has increased, but families have come together. So there is no benefit like that, because earlier everybody was engaged, student and child relation were taking a toss, but now all these things are automatically being taken care of by the lockdown and everything. So yes, with some pros and some cons, things are being managed, and we are much more ready than what we were a year ago. So with this, let's come to some cons of this digital transformation. Has recent digital transformation exposed the digital divide among students? Like, we had some students who were tech savvy and who had all the facilities, but there were some students who could not manage all that. Like, in the same house, there were 3 siblings, but they had only one device. So how they managed? Were there complaints of extra infra cost by parents? And other things also, like some students could actually get this into them, inculcate into them the digital transformation very easily. For some, it was very difficult. So what's your viewpoint on this? I'll again ask Bharti ma'am first. Ma'am, please unmute yourself. We cannot hear you.
Yeah, Vivek, first thing I just want to mention, we are talking about digital transformation. So digital transformation is one parameter, and digital transformation during this COVID pandemic is another thing. Okay, so my views on digital transformation are very clear that digital transformation will never replace a teacher. But digital transformation has completely changed the teaching learning process. So, with this, I just want to also mention, yes, considering this pandemic, this digital transformation, whether a digital divide has been created among the students, I think it truly depends upon how we look at. But again, we cannot deny this fact that the students had to adapt to this untimely phase of education. There has been a alteration in the life of the society. A major change in the life of the students has occurred. Now this kind of change will make a deep impact in the minds of the students for years to come. Now what is this impact? We have seen many challenges at school level, as well as with the teachers also, as well as with the learners also, because we have different types of learners in our school. Somewhere the students were forced to take this online education. If you see last year, learners from these urban areas, I can still understand it was easy for them, but learners from the villages where the access to high speed internet connection is not there, somewhere I yes, I and with this pandemic, there was no situation, but to continue with this teaching learning process. I do think that there has been a psychological impact on those, and it is a clearly divide on the concentration and the ability to focus on the study. We have seen toddlers sitting at home while it is a time for their enjoyment, running, having lots of fun playing around. We have seen these adolescent students, they had withdrawn themselves because for them peers are more important. Okay, however, there were certain ones who were able to take care of this technology, but there were some people who were not able to take care of this technology. Maybe they did not have devices at home. Maybe the father had one mobile phone and the father had to go out for work and the child was left with no device. There were some instances which were reported to us that the elder brother had to study and there was one mobile available at home. The parents were on their laptop because they were also working. So this kind of divide was always there. So when we compare all this, we are saying that there are some children where they were at a better situation and then there were some children who were not. Now, looking at the population of the students all over the country, we see that, educational initiatives and the institutes took different programs. They started taking care of all these problems that were reported. Similarly, there were many problems reported to us. We had certain group of children who do not have devices at home. They have one device at home which is taken by the parent and the parent, uses it for its workplace. We said perfectly fine. We recorded all the sessions and we have a Google Drive and a Google Classroom for every class. And we said, okay, we are putting the recorded session for, you to see whenever you get a chance to see. So in this way, this divide was also taken care, challenges were taken care, and the child was not away from the teaching learning process. But yes, I do agree to that there was some kind of divide. But if every institution takes care of this divide, I think children will be at a better situation as when it comes to the teaching learning process.
Definitely, ma'am. We as educators always try to have a minimum gap between those who were privileged and those who were not. Yes, recorded lectures was a major boon for those students who did not understand in one go, or those who did not have access to internet or mobile phone at that particular time, or maybe there was some interruption due to different cause, maybe internet disconnection or something else. So yes, it has worked and we have tried, and eventually this gap will keep on decreasing. Vaishali ma'am, I'll come to you. So how recent digital transformation exposed the digital divide, and what were the complaints that you faced majorly?
Yes. Yeah, actually, I feel that yes, there was a digital divide among students due to this technology or due to this digital transformation. So when we started with the online classes and all, so we took feedback from our parents. So where we got so many feedbacks like a screening timing that should be reduced, because students continuously they are sitting in front of the laptops, in front of the mobiles. Then for completing their homeworks again, they are using these gadgets. So many feedbacks we received from the parents. So we thought that we have to overcome on this. So that is why this year we reduced our syllabus, so that flexibility we had. So firstly, we reduced our syllabus. Then we tried to reduce our assignments also. And we decided how we can make this teaching learning process more interesting by using few other assignments, like we organize some quiz competitions for our students. We send Google Forms to them, so where we can get their feedbacks and all. So when this teaching learning process was started, yes, there were many challenges, but we try to overcome on those challenges. Like as I said earlier, that when we framed our timetable, so that time we had to consider that yes, we have to give weightage on important subjects, no doubt, because as per the government rules and all, given importance for the subjects. But in month of April, as students should not be developed in only academic areas, they should be developed in all round. So that is why full month of April we had organized different co-curricular activities, where music teachers, they had conducted classes, then we had conducted yoga sessions for their mind relaxation, then again we had art and craft. So art integration, that is one of the subject which is there in CBSE syllabus. So we had given some interesting activities for students, and we had organized many competitions for them. So out of academic areas, they can develop themselves in other areas also. Then one more thing I would like to share with you, that this year due to pandemic, we were unable to conduct this annual gathering as well as sports day. So there we thought that whatever things, or as per the interest areas of our students, we can take few periods or few things where they can present whatever hidden talent they have. So in that way, 2 days we had spent only for this annual social gathering and all. So where student, they had performed the different skills which they had. So in this way we tried to make this teaching learning process. But again I feel that it is only possible where there are these gadgets, or where the availability of laptops, mobile phones and all. But a few of my friends, they are working in rural areas also. The situation is totally different over there. So though they are trying to overcome on those problems, they are sending the YouTube links or some videos where they are recording their lectures. But still what I feel ki yes, definitely there was divide among students. But I feel due to this pandemic, these children, they are more techno savvy, and now they know more features than their parents know. So this is what I feel.
Definitely, ma'am. We have prepared them for future. They will come out to be more matured, more understanding, and they will be tough to handle situations like this in future. Yes, Rupali ma'am, I will come to you. So what is your viewpoint on this point? The digital divide among students, and what are the complaints that we have faced?
Digital divide, most of the points are covered by my co-panelists. Yes, there is a problem of having a single gadget and things like that. So what we did is we tried to have classes at different timings. For the pre-primary there was a different time, for the secondary there was a different time, and for the primary we tried to have a different time, so that there was a least of clash. And if there was a sibling in any, maybe one in the pre-primary or one in the primary, they could still use, even if they had a single device, there was a possibility that they could share that same device and use it. In this also, what we have found is, I don't think children, any of them actually struggle with technology today. They are really really very smart because they're born in this age of technology. So I don't think they really need any training. The training had to be given mostly to the parents as to how the sessions will be conducted and things like that. And like ma'am said, yes, I agree that the children actually know more than what maybe we also as educators and the teachers, or so many of us would not know things that are there, but the children are aware of so many technology aspects that are available on their devices. That is also there. Plus when we are talking about having problems in the rural areas, and recording sessions and sending them to the children, yes, is one way we could do it, letting them not miss out on the things that they would have done when they were coming for formal schooling. So starting the schooling right from assembly time, so giving it a structure, having it a kind of prayer, asking children to be there as they used to, as they would come to school, so being there in uniform, asking them to arrange for a place at the same place every single day, so that there is some kind of structure and discipline in their routine that comes. Also our sports day, our annual day, we did online. We had virtual field trips also, where we arranged for so many places where the children, and we did these over the weekend, so that the parents also could joining, and there was no problem of the devices and other things like that as well. So yes, there were complaints about devices. One more thing is there that, nowadays you get devices on rental basis as well. So in case parents needed help with that, so that was also initiated, and the school took an initiative to help them out and things like that, when it came to certain kind of help, and the parents were looking at something like that instead of investing in another device or something like that. So there were, as the situation was there, so many options had also come up. So we were trying to see how we can fit in best and give the best to our parents. But education and learning should not stop, and did not stop, and will not stop.
Definitely, ma'am. With all the limitations that were around us, we managed it very well. So now there comes another typical issue that has been brought up by the psychologists, that social isolation, digital overuse, and routine disruptions are some of the main issues observed among students due to online education. So how to cope up with these? I want your opinion regarding this, that the digital transformation has led to these kind of mental wellness problems. So how to cope up with these? Again, Bharti ma'am. Ma'am, please unmute yourself.
Yeah, sorry. So, what I want to say, that children are mostly affected during this pandemic time. However, I will not agree to this point that there has been a total social isolation or digital overuse or some routine kind of disruption. This will not happen if the school has taken the right curriculum module. Social isolation happens when there is no social interaction. But if the virtual sessions are planned in such a way that enough opportunities is to be given to the children to mingle with each other, to share, to question, all these things can be taken care. I just want to share that in our school, we came up with the class teachers period. And in this class teachers period, the class teachers were told that you will not teach the children, but you will only give them a chance to speak, talk. So, when it comes to senior classes, breakup rooms were created, and children can just go in those breakup rooms with their friends, chat, talk. They can discuss with the teachers. They can, raise certain concerns with the teachers. So that helped us, and the children were not into complete social isolation. When children talk to each other, when children see their friends, when they get a chance to express themselves, we will not be able to face this problem. One session with peers every day where they get to talk, have fun. And with the smaller classes, what they want, they just want to talk to their teachers. They just want their teachers to listen to them. And that is what we created in our school. Complete 45 minutes period was given so that every child gets a chance to talk. With regards to digital overuse, I would again say it is again how a school and the parent find out the best ways to make the children use the digital platform. When this online education was not there, then also we all will agree that children were on mobile phones, children were playing on their gadgets, maybe any kind of gamification was there. So now, if we are giving 2 or 3 hours of online education, and if we try to control the other side of the digital overuse, I think it can be taken care. Again, I just want to say that it is, how it is being directed by the school and the parents together. Let me put forward that the school alone cannot take care of this. The parents are the important stakeholders in the development of the children. If they all come together, I think these issues can be taken care. We also had a lot of complaints in the beginning about the screen overuse, and children have to also then look at the assignments and then do the assignments. That is also screen time. So we said, okay, if that is a problem, we will keep hard copies ready with us. come and take the hard copies of the worksheets and the assignments and let the children do it from the hard copies. There is no need. And when a teacher is giving any specific assignment from the textbook, children have the textbooks. Why there is a need of a screen time after the school? So we discussed with the parents, we gave them different options with the parents, and this is how, we were able to take care of the digital overuse. Then, we also were aware that the children are usually glued to television or on their tablets or on the devices. So we tried to, initiate a certain zero period in a school, which is a hobby period. And we gave all these periods on Saturdays also. Yes, of course, that was planned in such a way that it is comfortable for everyone. So with this, things were taken care. And of course, digital overuse is in our hands for our children. If we take care of it, everything can be taken care.
Definitely, ma'am. Like earlier, yes, students were not away from the digital devices, and their time was definitely going on into it. If it is well managed via parents play a very crucial role here. Yes, all these digital overuse or routine disruption can be avoided. I will come, Vaishali ma'am, to you. What are your viewpoints on this? The
Yes.
social isolation, digital overuse, and routine
Yes,
disruption.
Yes. So as we know that every coin, it has two sides. So I can say that yes, just for digitization also we come up with the challenges. And so as I said that everybody has tried to overcome on these challenges. So as Bharti ma'am said, yes, even in my school also we had some class teachers period. So mostly, as you know, that most of the students, they are connected with their class teachers. So whatever things happened at their home or anything, so they are that much emotionally attached with the class teachers. So whatever problems the students have, mostly they interact with their class teachers. So that is why our teachers were so well trained that every day they had talked with their students that what problems they are facing, so how we can overcome on it, what are their interest areas. So sometimes as per the wish of their students, they say ki, okay, today I will not teach, we will just interact, we will have some fun activities. So there we try to consider the mentality of our students, and accordingly my teachers, they tried to mold themselves. So that was the best part which I noticed. So that is one thing. Then I can say that yes, due to this digitization, that social isolation was seen. But as Bharti ma'am said, yes, before this pandemic, most of the time we had seen that children, they were engaged in playing games. So many things parents were complaining during the meetings, ma'am, please tell my child he is on laptop, he is on mobile. But yes, it is not the fully responsibility of schools and teachers. Parents' equal involvement is there in this all process. Then only we can work out in a successful way. That is the one thing. Then in my school, what we did that as the parents were complaining about the screening time and all, and as I already told you that we have reduced the timetable, everything. So we had arranged some counseling sessions for our students also. So in those periods only, whatever areas students feel that yes, we had challenges in this area about reading challenges, listening challenges. So there only my counselor, they used to discuss on many issues with the students. So I say that mental satisfaction, or we can say that that mental support was given by the counselors, special educators during this pandemic time to the students. That was the important thing. And even we had arranged so many sessions related to sports activities like yoga, meditation and all, so which can relax the mindset of the students, and they for some time at least they will go away with this technology. So this is how, though there were many challenges, but we try to overcome with the help of my teachers, counselors and even with the special educators.
Thank you, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Rupali ma'am, I'll come to you.
Yes, I would say the parents failed initially to realize a positive and a passive, online the gadget time and the learning. So the mindset of that we have, that schooling should happen physically. Schooling the child should go and then the teacher should teach. And then yes, like Bharti ma'am said, it wasn't that the children were not playing online. They were playing games, they were involved. Yes, they were with the gadgets. Each child almost had a gadget and they were spending time on the gadgets. Yes, the parents earlier, before this pandemic, have come to the teachers and told them that, please talk to my child, tell my child not to spend so much time on the gadget. Now the problem was the school was there on the gadget. Now the parents thought that, oh, I am, I was kept telling my child don't be on the gadget. Now the school is on the gadget. Now if the child is doing 2 hours of schooling and then of course the original gadget time still continues, there was the problem. So that trying to make a difference into an active gadget or a positive gadget time and a passive gadget time is something that the parents needed to understand. And that was a point where the educators played a role, and they tried to counsel their parents, they tried to orient their parents, they tried to be there with the parents to tell them that, look, this is how you can handle the issues. So every educator, I think, has gone through her own set of rules and regulations and try to understand her own parents and try to tell them the difference, how to handle the situation, because it was basically the mindset of the parents which had to be handled. The problem was there, the children, it was not that the children were not there on gadgets, they were there. The problem was there arise when actually the school also came on the gadgets. So then yes, positive time, so having yoga with the parents. So we used to have yoga sessions in the morning at 6:30, quarter to 7, where we asked the children to join with the grandparents. If the grandparents were living with them, fine, the grandparents were sent links to wherever they were. So it was a kind of a social session and things like that. Then arranging for Zumba classes for the mamas in the evening. So a fun activity wherein if the children wanted to join, they would join, and the mamas would connect for 5-10 minutes on the link, talk to each other, and then they would start with a session. So these things were basically to get them socially together and to not make them feel that they're socially isolated. And like Bharti ma'am said, if we handle it properly, it is not social isolation at all. We need to understand how we are taking care of it, because virtually as well we are connected to each other, we can understand each other. Also, we started with sessions like meet and greet in our school, wherein the teacher every day, half an hour before the school started, she would talk to only 3-4 children, very very casual talk, normal, like what do you like, what you don't like, anyone, your friend, not your friend. So the talk was really really basic, wherein she was just trying to build a rapport with the child, trying to understand where to go. And this continued, so not too many children, just 2 to 3 children every day, wherein she would try to connect to them every single day. So these are the small things that we've done. And like I said, every educator has in her own way tried to handle this situation, and I think we've come up with really wonderful and very very creative ideas to handle it.
Definitely, ma'am. Like earlier, recreation was on digital devices and teaching was offline. But now, since teaching has come on digital devices, recreation must be offline through physical activities, talking. So, ma'am, I think we have reached to the end of the session. In short, if you want to leave your message for students and parents and our viewers here, Bharti ma'am, message for students, parents and viewers. Ma'am, please unmute yourself.
Yes. Yeah. So, my message to everyone is that as educators, we play a huge role in molding a child's future. Whether it's offline, online, education will always remain the same. And with this, I want to end with a quote from, which was said by Ravindranath Tagore. The highest education is that which does merely give us information, but makes our life in harmony with all existence. So I think this quote will always answer us that what we are supposed to do here in spite of all the challenges, whether today it is pandemic, tomorrow there may be a different demand from the industry, whatever it is. And I think this is what our children also should make their life in harmony with all that is existing around them. Thank you, Vivek.
Beautifully said, ma'am. Thank you so much. Vaishali, ma'am, your concluding statement for our viewers, please.
Yeah, I would like to conclude that was stay home, stay healthy, stay safe. That is very important in this situation. And yes, don't get panic. We are there with you. We are there with our parents, with our students. That is our first priority, being educators. So, and definitely, if we are united, definitely we will overcome on the challenge of this pandemic. And very soon, yes, we will go on a regular path. So, this is what I feel.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Rupali, ma'am.
Yes,
your statement, please.
Like the famous quote, I'm sure everyone has heard of it. Education is what stays with you after school is over. So let's focus on the education part. Let's not focus on the physical being of the school, and let's focus on the learning and the creative impact that will be there with us and our children, and make them better citizens tomorrow. So let us make them better learners, and let us not just stick to the physical beings. And I think this pandemic, I would treat this as an opportunity, because I've learned so many things, and I thank Almighty that I have been in this part, and I'm playing an important role during these times, because there's so much that I have learned, and maybe I am contributing in my little way towards the society, towards the country, and of course the entire human race, that that we as educators are contributing our little bit. And if we take it positively, that positivity is there, bound to spread, and positivity is going to be the last thing that will last. So let us be positive, and I'm sure we are going to come out of this situation. So let's treat it as an opportunity, and let's think of education beyond physical beings. Thank you.
Definitely, ma'am. Beyond boundaries, education will always be provided to students, irrespective of whatever the condition and situation may be. And we should always look towards the brighter side. And students, we know that it is a tough time going on, but एक हिंदी में कोट है कि सोना आग में तपकर ही कुंदन बनता है. आप इससे और उभरेंगे, निखरेंगे, and there is no stopping. You'll be doing great in the future. We wish you all the best. I thank all the panel members for giving us their time and valuable inputs for this talk. Thank you so much, Bharti ma'am, Vaishali ma'am, and Rupali ma'am for joining us and sharing your thoughts with us. Thank you.
Thank you, Vivek. Thank you.
Thank you, Vivek.
We may end the meeting, crew.